Bulls got another win last night, and the big deal about this win is that win coupled with the Miami Heat's loss, it actually moved them up the standings. So the Chicago Bulls, they're the 9 seed right now, they're not the 10 seed. And it has me asking, can the Chicago Bulls actually make the playoffs this year? They're not going to catch the Magic. They're 3.5 games back right now. I looked at the schedules. I got the Bulls winning probably 6 of their remaining games. The Magic, with their remaining schedule, I see them winning about 7 of those games. So they're not going to catch them, and that doesn't really matter anyway. It's just a seeding point at that point. They got to go through the play-in tournament. The Chicago Bulls are going to have to win 2 play-in games. Can they win 2 play-in games and make the actual NBA playoffs? If you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I put value in that. I want to see what these young guys can do in the playoffs. I want to see what Kobe White does when he's playing the same team 4 times in a row and they're making adjustments. I want to see what Buzelis looks like in those ultra competitive, high intensity environments. I want to see what the guys look like in the playoffs. So the tanking bandwagon, if you're still on that tanking shit, you got to let it go. They're not tanking. They're making the play-in, and they're probably going to lose. They're not going to pick in the lottery this year, because I honestly think they can make the playoffs. I think they can get in as that 8 seed. So that first game, that Miami game, probably shouldn't worry me, right? Because the Heat, they've been terrible since they lost Jimmy Butler. I think since the Butler trade, they're like 4-15. Since that Jimmy Butler trade, they're on a downward slope. But last year, man, in that play-in game, I really thought we were going to beat the Heat in that game. They didn't have Jimmy Butler. It didn't matter. They still got it done. So they're kind of like the Chicago Bulls boogeyman when it comes to this play-in shit. When you look at that Atlanta versus Orlando matchup, I'm taking Orlando in that matchup. I know their offense looks horrible this year, but in a single game elimination, I just think Paolo Banchero has the ability to rise and to make it happen. He looked good in the playoffs last year against the Cavaliers in that 7-game series, so I trust Paolo way more than I trust the Hawks in that situation. So, can the Chicago Bulls beat the Atlanta Hawks in that final play-in game to get that 8 seed? I think they can. The Bulls match up very well with the Atlanta Hawks. Seems like we've had their number for a while. So I think there's a real possibility that the Chicago Bulls can make the playoffs this year. Are they going to get swept by the Cavaliers? Probably. If they surprise them in game 1 or game 2, it wouldn't be the most shocking thing ever, because we've seen that a lot in the playoffs. Teams let their foot off the gas, lose 1 game, and then kind of bounce back and get a gentleman's sweep. So if the Bulls get to the playoffs, though, I'm going to like it, man. It's more Chicago Bulls basketball to watch. We get to see what Josh Giddey looks like in the playoffs, where he's kind of the guy. You can't judge last year's playoffs when you're judging him, because it's really hard for a guard to look good when they're playing next to a ball-dominant guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I can't talk today. It's hard to look good when you play next to a guy like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, where he's dominating the ball so much, and your job is to basically sit in the corner and make threes, and Josh Giddey's not good at that. So I want to see what he looks like in the playoffs. I want to see what Kobe White looks like in the playoffs. He's never played in a playoff game. I want to see Modest Buzelis. I want to see Julian Phillips. I want to see all the young guys and see what they look like when that intensity gets ratcheted up. So I think they're going to make it as the 8 seed. You guys let me know in the comments, where do you think they're going to finish this year? How do you like them in the play-in tournament?